news tonight. MPs begin to debate plans for government's budget in the next 3 years. The government of DRC constructs road in Halama City to improve communication. Darts national team off to Nairobi for East Africa Championships. Good evening. This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. Members of Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania have begun to discuss the government's plan for the budget in the next 3 financial years, with some ministers finding themselves in a very difficult position on subjects to do with their ministries. The first minister to encounter this was the Minister of Works, Transport and Communication, Engineer Isaac Kamwewe, who is claimed to have dismissed implementing the Prime Minister's directive to take the ship that was given for free to the government to provide transportation from Nyamisati and Mafia, as the transport being used now is dangerous.
If a problem happens at the ferry from Nyamisati to Mafia, and lives will be lost. What we are advising you, Minister Kamwewe, don't come to Mafia and offer your condolences, because you seem to be an expert in collecting funeral funds and sending rescuing teams only. We are not ready for that. If you want to help us, then help us now. Our Prime Minister's directives political issues, because Minister Kamwewe is Prime Minister's directives. The words that he used are not good, because the Prime Minister is my boss, and I have never spoke with him. How come he is accusing me of things that we have not spoke about, and send them to the Prime Minister? On 24th of October, the government announced tenders for building a passenger ferry that will conduct Nyamisati and Mafia routes. It is important for the government, through the Ministry of Finance, to improve the system of how revenues will be collected and managed, so as to prevent any loopholes.
The body of one of the co-founders of IPP group of companies, Messiana Mengi, has arrived in the country today from South Africa, where she died while receiving treatment. After the body arrived at Julius Nyerere International Airport, the head preacher of Azania Front Church, Charles Nsinga, said a short prayer before the body was taken to Lugalo Hospital. Some of the people who were at the airport included Managing Director of ITV and Radio 1, Joyce Mhavile, as well as Dar es Salaam Regional Commissioner Paul Makonda, who said that Messiana Mengi's contribution will be remembered through the companies she managed.
We are told to be thankful for everything, even for what causes us great sadness. We thank you for allowing them to arrive here safe today with the body of the deceased, our beloved Mama Mercy. We thank you for the grace that is upon us. Father, in the name of Jesus, we ask you to remain our comforter and console us, be our guide in everything that we have to undertake. I'm here to support the family and friends and relatives, but most importantly IPP. As you know, it consists of several companies. Mama Mengi was one of the IPP founding members, and IPP Media has contributed a lot in job creation, giving jobs to a lot of people. Her passing is a big blow, not just to the family, but to IPP staff and members of the general public who have benefited from work produced by IPP. My condolence as a leader and someone who is part of this family. I have been shocked. We communicated recently when I was in the US, and she told me that she was going to see a specialist in South Africa and that it was nothing serious. When I came back, I received the news and it was shocking, unexpected. She took herself to the airport when she was going to South Africa. Sadly, she did not wake up after her operation.
Na kwa kweli msiba huu sisi kama wanawake wote.
This has greatly touched us women in the business community, especially when the deceased and her husband were entrepreneurs who have been a big support to women business owners. Recently, they allowed us to use one of their property in town trade so we could use it for our business. So in essence, we've lost a woman who was strong, who dared and was full of wisdom, but also a role model.
Tumempoteza role model yetu katika sekta ya biashara.
Hapana, tumefurahi kuwa uwanjani hapa.
We gathered here to support the family of Reginald Mengi to receive the body. As you can see, there are a lot of friends present here today with great sadness. We thank God that they arrived safe from South Africa.
Tanzania Orthopedic Institute MOI has for the first time conducted neurosurgeries to fix blood vessels in the brain for people with strokes, a medical operation that has never been conducted in the country. The surgery, which was conducted under the supervision of specialists from the USA and used up to 3 hours per patient, will help many patients with similar problems in the country. The District Commissioner of Nyamagana, Dr. Phyllis Nyimbi, has directed the Chief Medical Officer of Mwanza, Dr. Juma Mfanga, to dismiss 2 doctors and all nurses of Nyamagana District Hospital in Butimba who were on duty on the night of November 3rd of this year for allegations of negligence in causing the death of an infant. Dr. Nyimbi gave the directive after medical officers of the hospital failed to help the pregnant mother, Esther Bwire, a resident of Mahina, deliver safely, causing the death of her male child.
As of today, I want improvement on OPD. There are some who are collecting revenue and keeping the money in their pockets. I want such individuals to be dealt with accordingly. I want maternity ward to be kept clean too. I will report what you have just told me, and I promise that we shall work on it. I did not feel well and I had no energy. I tried to push the baby out, and when he finally came out, he did not make any sound.
Residents of Mtumba Ward in Dodoma have asked the government to speed up payment of compensation so that they can continue with their activities which have been halted for a long period of time after their areas were taken by the government for construction of the new city. When speaking during the visit of the Minister of Lands, Housing and Human Settlement Development, William Lukuvi, they said that they had been depending on the land for agricultural activities and asked the government to allow them to farm the land if the compensation is not ready as the new agricultural season is about to begin.
Last season we didn't do farming and our district commissioner witnessed how buildings fell and there was no compensation. You are speaking of western farms while nobody has spoke about eastern farms. We also want to farm. The rain season is almost here. What plans do you have for us? This red area is your area, but is just remaining on paper. If I ask the manager to take me there, I believe he can't spot the areas. All I want is for this map to be surveyed and everybody who owns the land there who have not been compensated to re-identify them once again, because Honorable President has already released the compensation funds. Are we clear? We just want to satisfy ourselves that the red areas are enough to be used by the military force. If it will not be enough, then we'll speak with the neighbors to find means of supporting each other. That is not.
President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli has appointed retired Lieutenant General Samuel Ndomba as chairman of the Board of Directors of Mzinga Corporation. Retired Lieutenant General Ndomba takes the place of Andrew Severin Nyumayo, who has completed his term. At the same time, President Magufuli also appointed Professor Zakaria Mganilwa as head of the National Institute of Transport (NIT) for another 5 years. The appointment of these leaders began on the 5th of November. Residents of Kishapu Ward in Kishapu District, Shinyanga region have all turned out in mass to build a health center on their own. The residents intend to use the funds that remain from a sum of 400 million shillings, which was given by the government, to build 5 buildings and also construct water pipes which will draw water from Lake Victoria to the health center.
We commend the government under the leadership of Dr. Magufuli for giving us 400 million shillings. Once the center is ready, it will serve the people of Kishapu, about 15,000 people. One challenge we face, however, is a lack of water, and we ask to be assisted in this regard. There is no water. The water that is available now is from the borehole, which has some water from last year's rain. If we didn't have enough rain, then we would not have any water. My request to you is, if we spend the money wisely, we shall have some left to draw water from Isoso to this place. 400 million shillings has been granted to build 5 buildings. This money must not be embezzled. It is hot, more than a cup of coffee. You must work together.
The saga on the poor use of funds in the East African Community Secretariat has taken a new turn after the MPs refused to receive the Finance Committee's report on claims that it did not clearly state some important issues that may help the Parliament and Council of Ministers of member countries to take necessary action.
I find that maybe the cause of all this is just because people working at the Secretariat or within the institutions, they think it is just a safe haven. If you may see the provisions of Article 73 that provides for the immunities, they think nobody can do anything otherwise.
I saw it earlier. There were so many queries in the report. And when I had just become the chairman of council, I said, well, it's pretty difficult for me to carry the burden. I did not. But at least this time, as I am in charge, I undertook, I will make sure that all monies meant for certain activities is properly accounted for, so that when the auditors come, it is clear.
The Prevention and Combating of Corruption Bureau (PCCB) in Kilimanjaro has detained 3 officials of Rombo District Council who are accused of misappropriating over 95 million shillings in public funds. The head of PCCB in Kilimanjaro region, Hole Makungu, has listed those detained as former accountant of Rombo District Robert Ndomele, public officer Edson Nkondoro, and Rombo District Treasurer Veneranda Mosha. He added that they will be taken to court tomorrow and will be charged for offences under the Prevention and Combating of Corruption Law number 11 of 2007.
Municipal accountant Robert Ndomere and Edson Nkondora, who was a civil servant, for embezzlement of public funds, about 95,031,435 shillings, and provision of false information. We also have in our custody Veneranda Mosha, who was the bookkeeper for Rombo Municipal Council.
That is all for national news. Do stay with us. We'll be back with international news just now.
offers an unrivaled platform for advertisers to enhance brand awareness and move products. We will enable you to reach confident and informed consumers and decision makers who are ready to buy, which includes company CEOs, CFOs, managers, entrepreneurs, policymakers in government, politics and civil society, diplomats, members of the academia and other key influencers. See examples of advertisement opportunities featured in Financial Times sections below. Telecom sections, real estate section, company news, banking, finance and insurance industry, information technology, national, regional and global markets overview, motoring, lifestyle. Get your copy of Financial Times for 2,000 Tanzania shillings only.
And in international news, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo is implementing a road construction project in Halama City so as to improve communication among residents of the area who have been affected by incidents of violence.
What we need is security. What kind of security are we getting here? It is just a road. The road will help us to simplify transportation of goods from one place to another. How will the road help us with our security problems? The road will help us with locomotion only. How will the road help us with security?
24 people have been killed by police officers in Nairobi, Kenya in the last 3 weeks, and this has occurred in Dandora, Huruma, Mathare and Kayole streets.
As mothers and the rest of survivors, we are so sad of these killings. We are tired of murder issues. Although this is a recognized country, but to be honest, we are living like refugees. Children are killed often. Youth are mostly killed by police. In the past 21 days, we have lost 24 youths in Dandora, Mathare, Kayole and Majengo areas. We have been asking ourselves, why do these incidents continue happening? Despite having laws that needs to be followed, because the law says that once somebody is suspected to have done a criminal offense, he or she must be arrested and taken to court.
And that is all for international news. Business news is up next.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. As part of developing strategies to promote tourist attractions in the country, the Tourism Board, along with tourism stakeholders in Tanzania, the mineral sector and some government institutions are expected to take part in a big business exhibition in China known as China International Impact Expo, organized by the government of China so as to increase the tourism market.
Sasa hivi Uchina wao katika maonyesho ya International Expo ambayo yameanza.
Right now, China at International Expo, which began on 5th of November, will continue till 8th of November, and from 10th November there shall be several road shows. These shows will definitely provide an opportunity for tourism stakeholders to meet in that particular country.
Suma JKT under the National Services entered into an agreement with Polyserve company from Egypt to build a large factory for mixing fertilizers that will be built in Kimbiji, Kigamboni and Dar es Salaam and will help in availability of fertilizers for farmers as well as aid in growth of the agricultural sector.
We have signed an agreement for them and us to do business together. After this agreement, what is next is to conduct a feasibility study and calculate costs of the project.
You see there's a lot of great synergy that can be done between both sides. And in terms of investment, if we want to invest here in Tanzania,
for 3 consecutive months, Zanzibar has continued to experience price inflation, whereby in October of this year, inflation rates grew from 3.5 to 3.7%.
Food items, there was an increase. For example, rice rose to 7.9%, fish rose to 2.1%. Cement rose to 0.3%, kerosene 20.9%, petrol 3.0%, and diesel to 15.3%. We are not expecting that in 1 month or the coming 2 to 3 weeks that the increase will have impact to our inflation in Zanzibar. But if the increase will proceed for the coming 2 to 3 months, then the impacts will be obvious.
And that is all for business news. We'll be back in just a bit with sports.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip hop, a hip it, the hip it, the hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports news, the darts national team has been given farewell as they head to Nairobi for the East African Championships, with the government insisting on discipline among the players.
Most African countries have been afraid of players from Tanzania because they've been highly competitive. So it is our hope that they're going to compete. We have agreed upon ourselves that that's our spirit, and it's go and to compete and not to have a tour. It is better to say we won't participate in case our players or our team is not ready.
The league board has confirmed that it has received complaints from JKT Tanzania regarding the referee who officiated their match against Simba in Tanga, arguing that he was not fair.
We received their complaints yesterday and we are working on them. We as the Secretariat receive complaints and then go through the documents that we have before sending them to the committee, so that when the committee makes a decision, it knows what happened. You know, the challenge we have from our teams is that complaints usually do not have details.
More than 150 students have participated in a basketball clinic in Dar es Salaam today, with reports saying Tanzania has advanced highly in the sport in the last 5 years.
It's improving. It's improving. It's not where I want it to be. My goal is to have it at the top. We need to catch Nigeria and Angola and Senegal and all of those countries, and we're getting there. We're closing the gap. Every year that I see us getting better and better and better. And I think that with the spirit of the people, more government resources being put into it, the leadership of the TBF, we're on the right track.
CJ McCollum, 40 points, and the Portland Trail Blazers handed the high-flying Milwaukee Bucks a 118-103 loss at the Moda Center to earn their 5th victory in their last 6 games.
McCollum had 6 shots from the field and also had 6 assists and 5 rebounds as Portland won for the 5th time in 6 outings. Evan Turner contributed 16 points and 11 rebounds off the bench for the Trail Blazers, who shot 52.7% from the floor and made 17 of 43 from 3-point range. Giannis Antetokounmpo collected 23 points, 9 rebounds and 6 assists, and Chris Middleton added 22 points, 8 boards and 6 assists for the Bucks.
Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku could miss the Manchester Derby and the weekend after he was not named in the squad for tonight's trip to Juventus.
The 25-year-old Belgian was dropped to the bench for the match against Everton 2 weeks ago and then missed a win at Bournemouth because of an injury. Meanwhile, right-back Valencia has returned to the squad, having not played since the start of October following mouth surgery. In other games today, Manchester City hosts Shakhtar Donetsk, CSKA Moscow play Roma, Young Boys travel to Valencia, Benfica hosts Ajax, Bayern Munich welcome Athens, Hoffenheim visit Lyon, and Victoria Pilsen welcome the defending champions Real Madrid.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who prepared this bulletin for you, thank you for watching and have a good night.